the difference between what God says and the voices in my head. The spotlight's addictive, every page my mistress. I write using the pen as my wife, leave a face to a stage dive. Suicide.
Hey, this is Petula Caesar of Speakerbox magazine, and I am bringing you another installment of the Red Couch Interviews. This is the Red Couch. I am the interviewer, and before we get started, I must give a very quick shout out to Ruben Dubscience Green and Dubscience Films for allowing me to put my butt on his couch. Today I'm going to be talking to Femi The DriFish of Femi The DriFish and the Out of Water Experience, and I will explain exactly why I'm doing this interview. Someone was talking to me about you and said that you came out of nowhere, yes, exactly. And I was like, what do you mean? And they were talking about how you and your band just kind of showed up on the scene and just like took everything over, just out of nowhere. In fact, they actually referred to you as an overnight sensation, which I thought was really funny because I know the backstory. So that's part of what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to work our way up to what's happening next month, all month long. So let's start with the whole overnight sensation myth. How did that happen?
Well, it all started in the year 1861. There was a blue moon, a banana, and a peacock. I'm joking. Well, let me see. Overnight sensation. Actually, I can explain that. And it's not like I'm an overnight sensation. I don't even think I'm a sensation yet. But I'm striving to be a sensation. But I did realize that when the band started, I started to get press. I've always gotten press. I'm not saying I've always gotten press, but I've been covered over the last 14 years in various aspects. And now I'm getting press that's reflecting me as an artist, as an entertainer. And prior to that, when I was with Fifth L, most of our coverage was about what we do in schools, what we do in the community. I was never quoted, no one ever spoke about what I say and how I say. No one really talked about the pieces David and I wrote. They always just talked about these two artists. They uplifting the children, saving babies, kissing, doing all that stuff. Right. So I think that entertainment bloggers or entertainment media, we want entertainment media radar. Okay. Because spoken word poetry is never looked at as entertainment. It's not treated as entertainment. Okay. So the band aspect, the music aspect, the band aspect, I've realized as I got into it, I realized it's a whole different world. Like all my interactions, my contacts, the environment I'm in is completely different from the arts and culture world that I'm normally in. I'm around artists still, but it's just a different style of people and interactions and expectations. Okay, so you're with the Fifth L for, let's say, over a decade, you and David, and you're doing the spoken word, and then you decide you want to do this solo project. Is that pretty much what happened? Yeah, no, I didn't. I like being, the solo project was not like my thing. I didn't foresee it. What had happened was that about 2010, David started doing Sundays. Do you remember that? Yes, I remember. Okay, Genesis Day. He started touring with that, and I kind of felt idle, because it actually started to pick up some steam. He was doing, we did a side project that got steam, and he was doing a lot more gigs. And in those times that we would normally be doing gigs, he was doing solo gigs, and I was kind of idle. So I was like, well, I need to fill in my time with something. I need to do something. I'm an artist. I need to figure out what I sound like, what I seem like when I'm by myself. So that's what really motivated me to venture off. And the band wasn't even the plan. The band was the plan when probably halfway through recording, I was like, I'm gonna need to do this with something. I can't do it by myself. I need music. Okay. So yeah, I ventured off after David had ventured off. Okay. So I decided to venture off. And you recorded the first CD, The Clown with No Circus? Yes, I did. Okay, and what happened? after some trial and error, because I had the band, the current incarnation of the band I have right now, is not the original band I started out with.
Okay.
So I had a different vocalist, different bass player, different guitarist, didn't have a drummer, and I was just trying to work out like what does it look like, what does it sound like. I know I'm a high energy person, I'm a kinetic person, I move a lot, I'm animated, and the band was cool, but it didn't do what I felt like it needed to do. But I was leading up to the album release, so before the album release even happened, I had been gigging with the band and trying out the songs and trying out to see how it moves. A lot of my work I figure out on stage. A lot of people try to rehearse. At home, I've always figured things out by presenting it and figure out what works, what doesn't work, how I'm delivering, does it, where do I pause at and stuff like that. So, by the time the album release came, things started to fall off in the band that I put together. And that's when KP joined in, Spider was on drums, Chuck was always on beatbox and scratching, and I think by the time we did the album release is when, I don't know, I was surprised. It was a big deal show, but I didn't realize that I didn't realize I had that kind of pull. We had a packed out venue.
Right.
And you have to understand that my relationship with David has always been like we do this with each other. So it's like David and I are the same person with different points of view. So he thinks it's me, I think it's him.
Okay.
So I didn't know if I had pull on my own. And that's a big deal to me, that when you establish yourself as an artist, you can go to all the venues you want. You can feature at open mics and the whole nine. But every so often you have to step outside that venue and see if you have your own personal pull. That's how you know if people like what you do.
Got it.
And so I've always been big on doing shows. With Dave and I, we always did album releases. We always did separate shows outside of the venues just to make sure that we're a factor.
Okay.
And this was like a very scary moment for me, because I was like, oh shit, can I curse?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I was like, oh shit. And I threw a show at a location that the show wasn't happening. It was my show. I was promoting it. And it was time for me to see, do I have pull? And we had about a good 140, 150 people came out all over the place, and there was media.
Yes, there was.
And media covered the hell out of my show and gave some great reviews and gave the album great review. It was stuff that I always wanted prior that we never got, and I started getting that arts and entertainment coverage. And from that point on, we just kept on rolling, and I kept on refining the band, and I say but it's not even an I thing. Myself, Maurice, KP came on board, even Spider plays a factor, and Alexis came on board after that album release. So we started to refine what I already had, but just make sure that it works on stage. Everything's about how things look and how it sounds. So just started to craft it a whole lot better, and this is where we are now.
Okay. Somewhere during that process, you sort of fell into rock venues, and those types of shows, which when I was talking to some other bloggers that were familiar with you, they thought that was an unusual place for you to end up, considering you started off as a spoken word poet, and I guess it has a lot to do with kind of their perception of what spoken word is and where it can go or should go and that type of thing. How did that happen?
True story?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you did my press release.
Well, tell the story.
Well, Tula did my press release, and 98 Rock holla back.
And you didn't want to do that shit.
Nah, I was a little nervous.
We had to kind of trick you to get you to do it.
I was a little nervous. It's weird because I didn't have a home base. I was doing music as a poet. I was performing loud, so I didn't feel like the size of the sound we were making didn't have a snap response anymore. I didn't like performing for a sit down audience anymore. But I didn't know where to perform. I didn't know where what we were doing would fit. So it was trial and error. I didn't always fit in all the hip hop environments. Like some of the hip hop environments I fit, some of them I didn't fit. I didn't have enough drug lingo to fit in certain places. Well, I didn't fit there. But a rock venue it was intimidating because I listened to quite a bit of rock. And I grew up listening to rock before I even was introduced to hip hop, R&B, whatever. I grew up listening to the Police. I grew up listening to Queen. Grew up listening to Adam Ant. Grew up listening to Elton John. You know, I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of rock music. So I've always enjoyed the way they looked on stage. Like on stage, it was a show. It was always about energy. So I was just really nervous about how am I going to be received in an area that I probably respect. As performer-wise, I respect rock performers more than I do hip-hop artist performers. Okay. Like, I respect rock performers. They're about the show. It's not about looking good. It's about just giving a crazy good show and leaving that stage drenched.
So you did the first Noise in the Basement, and
yes.
How'd it go?
We had a good show. We had a costume theme show, which really freaked out the owner of the venue. I had what was the theme? It was the Carnival Circus Freak show. So I advertised to my network and said, hey, look, I'm doing the show at the Baltimore Sound Stage. I'm one of 4 bands performing. I want all my fans, all my supporters to come out dressed as Carnival Freak Show acts. And they came out. And you know, we had tried that with my album release, so it had already worked once. So it wasn't something, I thought it was a pretty cool niche to do. So we tried it again, and it worked again. And I remember some of the bartender, and one of the promoters there was like, who is responsible for this? Now, that whole night before I got on stage, I had this crazy mask on, so no one saw my face pretty much the whole night. And so no one knew who I was the whole night. And it wasn't until it was about time for me to get on stage I took my mask off and unveiled that it's me, pretty me, underneath that mask. So we had a really good turnout. Like, you could tell our fan base came in costume, like crazy costume, full costume. It was nowhere near Halloween, which is the joy of my life. Like, you can dress up whenever the hell you want to. So it was a good. We had a good show. And that was my mark. I said, okay, I got it. And I remember Billy Live went on before me. Yes. And I remember him doing "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Yes. And I remember saying, "Fuck."
Who doesn't love "Smells Like Teen Spirit"?
Yeah, and everybody knew it. Right. Everybody knows the song. So I remember saying, I was the last band to go on, and he did that song as his closing song. As his closing song, he did that song, and I was like, "Fuck, I don't have any covers." That was what went through my mind. I was like, "Fuck, I don't do covers." And as a performer, I'm competitive. Okay. I remember listening to De La Soul and Tribe, and there was some interviews they had where there was like they said they had this friendly competition where, you know, whoever go on stage first, the person come after like, all right, I'm gonna crush it. But the person go on first like, I hope you can crush this because we just blew it off the top. So when Billy Live did, he had a good set, but when he closed with something everyone knows and could sing along with, my job got very hard all of a sudden. I was like, shit. Because now the energy was here, everything was high. Right. And I had all original. No one could sing along. You know, and that's why but I got on stage, and I think that's when I started doing Fuck This Job. That was the first time I did Fuck This Job. And that's how we set off the show. And we set it off, it just went high. And from that point on, we just rolled that wave out.
So, next month, what 3 cities?
So next month, we're doing HMAC in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which we actually did a music conference there about, I think in February this year. So June 7th, HMAC in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. June 13th, Club Heaven in Hell in Washington, D.C. Adams Morgan. And June 23rd is the Auto Bar in Baltimore City as part of 98 Rocks Noise in the Basement.
And all this is to release your new CD, which is a live project.
It's the live experience called OWX Live. So yeah, we're looking forward to just releasing a good album live album, which we recorded. We did two live recordings last year, and we captured a lot of that night and wanted to release it. It was important to me because I had 2 albums out already, and they're good albums. Studio, everything was tracked out, some live instrumentation, but when I started looking at our shows and listening to the albums, I felt like it didn't match. And most bands go in the studio together to just kind of boom, 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 bang it out. And that's how they capture the energy to the best of their ability. But if you listen to a live album, it's all there. You capture the energy, you capture the call and response, you capture the audience. But there's a richness. In a live show. So I was like, yo, I wanna do it before we start with, because we've been trying to work on new material. But before we do this new material, I was like, let's go back real quick. Let's just capture a good set and use that as a marker for our new approach to doing what we do. And especially coming from a spoken word environment, I feel like I'm always evolving. And so this is the next evolution step for us.
Okay. So OWX Live will be available at all these shows?
All these shows, there's a possibility, I'm doing these numbers right here, there's a possibility we're about to get a distribution deal.
Okay.
And that means we'll be in stores.
Okay.
FYE, stores, especially everything online, which is not unusual for us anyway, but I've never been in a store officially before. I've been in Soundgarden, but you can find us in stores. So I'm looking forward to really people going out to buy us in stores, so I don't have to help panhandle CDs all my life. Because I ain't got no problem panhandle. I do the grind, but I want to evolve. I want a promotion. I want a promotion, and a promotion for me is being in stores and people buying your album in stores. Promotion for me is ended up on a tour, being paid to be on a tour and travel the country doing shows, or travel around the world doing shows. It's time for a promotion, and I want a promotion. We can look at that show, and it's without a doubt. So I'm looking forward to a shift in gears and to just kind of show like, hey, with good work, hard work, these are things that come from it.
Okay. So this was not an overnight sensation at all.
Grinding for goodness. I've been a full-time artist since 2001. I quit my job in probably 2000, so I've been eating barely off my artistry, whether it's performing, whether it's workshopping, whether it's writing. I've been eating off of it since about 2000, 2001. And I've been a performer since probably like 98, 99. So.
Okay, so where can the good people get all the details about your shows and the CD and decide which shows, more than one, that they want to come to and what costume they want to wear and all that type of thing?
You can always go to www.anartkeymusic.com. That's anartkeymusic.com.
You want to spell it for me?
ANARTKEYMUSIC.com. And that's COM for those who don't know. Anartkeymusic.com is our website, and calendar's there, music is there, free downloads is there, our videos is there. We just released a video for Free Fall, which is our lead single from the live album. It's a live footage video. As a matter of fact, Dubscience also.
Wow.
Contributed
Shout out
to
Dubscience again.
Anywhere.
I know, right?
Yo, I hope Dubscience actually records my sex tape when I decide to do it.
I think you should.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Hey Dub, I promise there'll be peacocks there. I promise you, it's gonna be beautiful.
It's gonna be beautiful.
There'll be doves and black hawks.
You got a thing for birds, don't you?
I do. I like birds.
I like birds.
Yeah, so anartkeymusic.com is where you can find everything about us, everything. You can book us through there. Whatever you need, we got it. anartkeymusic.com. Out of World Experience, OWX Live, next month, June 7th. Harrisburg, PA, June 13th. Washington, D.C., June 23rd. Baltimore, Maryland. and then from that point on, we're gonna keep it moving.
All right, sounds good. So I think that's it for right now. This is Petula Caesar for Speakerbox Magazine with assistance from Dubscience Films, and I want to thank Femi The DriFish for joining me this evening for this installment of the Red Couch Interviews. And we're out of here.
So where am I? In stilled waters, the margin's higher. I'm under like a world full of criminals. They say poets are deep. I say we don't dig deep enough. Just outreach, similar type preach to audience members looking from a pedestal just to feel great. Clap for me. This is the only emotional thing I do with comfort. So I'm sorry. It would be easier for you to love me if I wasn't me. It would be easier for us to kiss if it didn't have a double meaning or touch.